Act 7.4.3, 100% guide, all paths, all bosses, let's go. So as a lot of you know, put out a little community tab thing about like, you know, champion suggestions. Thanks to everybody that submitted stuff in there. I've got my own champions I put in, but also having a community and also Sugar and many other people that kind of like add stuff into this. And I will be updating this, I think, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. I'll do a new one with loads of suggestions from the comment section. So this will adapt and this will improve. Link in the description to this guide as well as the ongoing series, which has all of them, and tabs in the bottom left hand corner that switch between the various different types of things. So let's go over this in detail. And hit the like button, subscribe, support the channel. Please do that. That would be great. Also, I need to change a few path allocations with stuff, but as I said, this is an ongoing, it's always been updated. The spreadsheet will always be looking to be updated. The same way I'm going to do the same type of guide for all of the acts. I'm going to be doing that very, very soon once I've 100% Act 7.4 and also got the 10k units that I'm working on. I digress. Let's get on with it. Let's start off about the paths. Starting with path 1. Okay, so in a nutshell, ticking time bomb is like fuse charge. When you do a well-timed block, hit enemy's block, removes a fuse. Otherwise, boom, direct damage. That's the easiest way to explain this. On this particular path with parry vulnerability, now if you want to play into this, you can do that. I personally didn't like it that much, and I ended up just using champions that I felt were kind of better for my needs and suited my playstyle, like Apocalypse, Doctor Doom, any champion really. I don't think we can go too specific with this. I think any champions work, but some will work a little bit better, and I'll you know, other suggestions from other people. I mean, I use King Groot as well. I felt that it kind of mitigated the volume of say if I was to play into it and I was getting damage and explosive personality, which yeah, it was giving me damage, I would just use a high regen champion like King Groot, which helped me out. But also you can use other champions, Doctor Doom, Apocalypse, Kitty Pryde, Namor, Mr. Negative, Nick Fury, Dragonman, whole host of champions to take on path 1. You just got to be very careful about mitigating the damage that comes from the kind of the burst from ticking time bomb, and also explosive personality of how you play into that, and especially with explosive personality, especially with like champions like Namor, where you can reflect back damage, and other champions that have indestructible as part of their kit. They can be very helpful. Path 2 is the first paradox path. This one is paradox block. Again, in a nutshell with this, block equals charge, power lock, interrupt, light or medium to remove charge, debuff potency per paradox charge. There is quantum lock, which essentially is saying like you cannot prior to the 3 charges gain power. That's something. Now you see me every 10 seconds the attacker is inflicted with a falter debuff. To be honest, you didn't really need to play around with it because it's just nothing really to worry about. Just keep your hits on, and if you need a miss counter, we've got you covered in this particular section. So for Invisible Woman, I use Nick Fury. Spider-Man 2099 for Dr. Voodoo. Any debuff champion for Joe Fixit. APOC against Daredevil Hell's Kitchen. Void, I took Nick Fury in. Tigra, I took Human Torch in. So many champions for this. Nick Fury, Mr. Negative, Elsa Bloodstone, Apocalypse, Professor X for a miscounter potentially if you wanted to. Immortal Abomination for debuff damage. Human Torch with incinerate damage. Spider-Man 2099 with his debuff damage and ruptures. Archangel. Look, there's so many champions you can use from this. Sasquatch, you know, the list goes on. As long as they do like high debuff volumes, they're going to be fine. It's just having a few counters for the root, especially with Invisible Woman, especially with Tigra and Void, that kind of deal with those particular situations. But apart from that, nothing really to worry about. Path 3 now, and this is about Meltdown. Meltdown is basically, in a nutshell, you'll exchange a charge, which will look to interact with your special attacks. It will explode on expiry, so you throw special attacks to switch it from side to side, switch on to the defender, and the duration will decrease, so it'll go down as per more special attacks being thrown. So in a nutshell, yeah, you want to like, you know, throw it between each other, but try to kind of throw special attacks towards the end of the expiry so that the duration is on for long on you. But yeah, I mean, this was a pretty doable thing. Most of the time I was using power control champions. I found them to be the most effective, which you can see right here. So even though I used APOC a little bit, Doctor Doom, any champ for Red Hulk, and Human Torch for Ebony Maw, because I just kind of felt like it was just so annoying. So I wanted to bring Human Torch just for that fight in particular. But Mr. Negative, Apocalypse, Spider-Gwen, Punisher 2099, Doctor Doom, Hyperion, power control options, Vision, for example. There's so many champions you can use. I personally, my personal preference from playing it, I did find that it was better using a power control option, just to kind of, because that's another thing to mention about this, is that you will find that with reddening, you will find that the building of special attack, you won't be able to get to an SP3 that easily, and it will kind of like lock you at a certain point of as you're building power. So I kind of felt like it was either better to power control, do power, gain quickly champions, throw special attacks, or you could try and do like, I can't do stun locks, but it just felt like you had to quickly throw special attacks. Your path number 4 is Paradox Dodge. This one in a nutshell is do a dexterity, get a charge. While time blocks, charge remove. Other nodes, and that is an important one, is enemy gets power quickly. That's with all the things like Quantum Surge and other things like that. And also, Entropic Burn is you're playing into Paradox, not buff, but kind of like improvement to you. And in a nutshell, that is power burn potency is improved per Paradox charge. So the more Paradox charges you have, the more power burn you're going to do. Narrative of champion usage depends on how you want to kind of look at it. So I looked at it like this. I wanted to just go straight power control options. That's why Thor, Jane Foster, I used Doctor Doom, Penny Parker was used in my roster for this. But anything really that you find helpful. If the champion's throwing special attacks, we'll punish them. Yellow Jacket, Spider-Ham, Mr. Fantastic and She-Hulk synergy. But there's so many. If you want to use magic, for example, if you want to use Nick Fury, which I did use, great. Power control options, most helpful. Up to you. I personally felt that was the case, but you do you when it comes to those interactions. Superiority Underdog or Superiority is your path number 5. This one is a lot of fun. In a nutshell, mutants do more damage, skill champions less damage, tech champions 20% more damage. And also there's Disorient, there is Civil War Zone, which is when the defender is struck, they gain an indefinite power up. I will be honest, I didn't see any problem with this. And also Return Policy. Whenever any of the defender's buffs are nullified, they gain 60% of a bar of power. I mean, I did use Doctor Doom at times on this one. Yeah, mainly, like, it's an iffy one. But I would say, like, yeah, there's Magneto is the absolute cheese for this. Let me look on the path. You've got 1, 2, I think it's like 3, 4 different #metal champions on this one, or maybe it's 4. So it's like it's crazy fun to kind of like do this. And yeah, my top recommendations for this particular path are Apocalypse because he's disorient immune, Magneto because there's tons of #metals on that route, Ronan because you can obviously do some kind of rotation things with that, Archangel Cable with Apocalypse because that starts you off for that, getting that what you need, America Chavez, yeah, it's Horseman, whatever you need, like great options right there. Very easy path, one of my favorites. And a final path, again, one of my favorite paths, and the Corvus Cheese path is Cosmic Fracture. In a nutshell with this, Cosmic light attacks, Cosmic Champions, light attacks equals armor break debuff. Knockdown champs removes armor breaks. Champs are immune to power control. Mystic Champions nullifications are immune on 10-second rotations. So yeah, Cosmic Champions are the best ones to use because you get armor breaks, but they will be shrugged off on the enemy when you knock them down. But that doesn't really matter. Corvus Glaive builds up to 4 missions by going up against various different champions. Auto blocks from Penny Parker. The mutant there, you get another charge. Happy days. All good. Loads of champion options here to use. Corvus, Arcus, Captain Marvel movie, Angela, Venompool, Hercules. Nick Fury for Penny Parker is an iffy one. I think I used that one. If not, I think there was no Corvus was that. So I'm probably going to edit that or take that out of the spreadsheet in a second. Venom, Cosmic Ghost Rider, tons. Right, there's tons of options right here. And let's end the video by talking about the bosses. First of all, starting off with Mangog. In a nutshell, this champion does have Unstoppable as part of its basic kit, but also because of fight or flight, you have to make a decision about keeping distance. The more distance you keep, obviously you're going to get an Unstoppable buff. Once you go Unstoppable, you also get a little kind of attack boost with a passive Fury. You'll also, by being up close, get a staggered debuff. Now, as we kind of said, you want to get an Unstoppable buff, so you create a lot of distance and keep your distance right to the end of the map. So you get that Unstoppable, get that passive Fury, and keep the champion to an SP1. Do watch out for, I think it's, yes, Steady Perseverance. When the defender activates a special attack, they gain a stun immunity buff for 4 seconds. It's up to you how you want to play this fight, whether or not you want to play around the narrative of the throwing of the unstoppable buff, which could be like champions that deal with that particular situation, like Spider-Gwen and She-Hulk. You could also go a different route. I mean, if you want to like use power control champions, Dr. Doom or whatever, I think it's going to be possible. I need to do some further testing. I personally use Human Torch, but Cap Infinity War works fine. Actually, can't remember if I did use Dr. Doom in any capacity at some stage, but yeah, like loads of different champion options have worked. Some others suggested by the community, I haven't tested them out, but if somebody's used them, then hey, you know, if it works, it works. Boss number 2 is King Groot, and with this one, in a nutshell, standard nullification fight, up to you if you want to play it that way. The more you nullify on King Groot, the more he gets passive Furies with some of the abilities as mentioned. There's also Supercharged, so he's going to gain a power gain buff. Only danger in this fight is the unblockable buff. As part of kind of like nullifying, he will gain an unblockable passive. So that's something to work around. Also, try and push the champion to SP1s each time. It just means it's like 0 kind of problems for you. Champions that we use for this, I use Dr. Doom, but Longshot, Hood, Sigil Witch, anything that maybe nullifies could be good. Even though it does play into the Apex Predator's ability or node, then it's up to you how you want to do that. But that's what worked for me. You know, nullification and just rotation. Could even use to punish, like, you know, could use magic, for example, could be a good option. And on to the final boss, which is Purgatory. Purgatory, in my opinion, is one of the more easiest ones. I think the funnest one that's there. This fight is tons of fun. As the champ gets special attacks and throws them, she will power sting herself. Right champs that punish specials being thrown, like Spider-Man, Human Torch in Nova Flame, She-Hulk with the Mr. Fantastic synergy work great. So essentially, get her to throw special attacks and she kind of melts herself. So that's kind of the narrative of that. Melts herself. Yeah, loads of options. Nick Fury, I think I used because I didn't want to lose any kind of like health, and I was just, I don't know, just trying something out. Yellow Jackets for Power Sting. She-Hulk with Mr. Fantastic synergy, which I think kind of extends to other science champions. So not just limited to that. Anything that Power Stings can have a real kind of like decent effect. Human Torch, as we said, Nova Flame works great. Spider-Ham, of course, tons of fun options there with that particular fight. There we go. That has been the 7.4.3 All Paths, All Bosses guide. I've got links in the description to the Google Drive spreadsheet, which is going to be updated regularly. It's going to be worked into, and further updates down the line. I will also start getting to work on 7.4.4 and get the counters out, and hopefully have that video done on Monday, I want to say. Depends on time because there's a lot of work to do. But yeah, thanks to everybody that submitted information, as we said. And yeah, check out some other content, link in the description. And oh no, on screen right now. And I'll see you in the next video, whenever that will be. Cheers, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.